In this session, we're going to explore the concept of what I'm calling an SII, the supervisor. And as we do, let's just take a moment to slow things down a bit and really settle in our bodies. You might just bring your attention to the breath and very simply just following the breath in and out. And as we do that, you might start to notice a little quiet around the breath, a little sense of quiet. A little sense of spaciousness. As we just allow this spaciousness to be here. Not worrying about thoughts being present, emotions, sensations, or impulses. Just continually returning to the spacious breath. The spacious, quiet breath that's always here, always available, regardless of what's happening in experience. And just in this simple practice, we'll begin to observe the supervisor. You may notice that the simple practice of just noticing the spacious breath sounds simple. Seems easy. And yet, what you might find is that things are happening, other things start happening. Your mind starts to wander. Maybe you start controlling the breath. Maybe you start thinking, well, what kind of breath should I have? Is this deep enough? Is it a belly breath? He didn't say what kind of breath. I don't know if I'm doing it right. there's an evaluation of the breath. And then you come back. Oh, there it is. The quiet, spacious, simple breath. Okay, I got this. This is easy. And then, before you know it, you're in what I call a thought movie. Without you even realizing it, you realize you're already thinking about stuff. You're going down some thought stream. Maybe it plays out in a sense of imagining a scenario. What's going to happen next day, what you're going to say at the meeting, the groceries you have to pick up, that bad thing someone else said the other day that upset you. Or maybe it's totally random. Maybe it's emotionally tinged. Maybe not. And then you think, wait a second. I was just focusing on my breath. What happened here? I'm in a thought movie. I'm playing out scenarios. Trying to understand things. I'm planning for the future. Or I'm analyzing the past. Maybe it seems important. Maybe there's a little sense of urgency around the thought. Like, no, this thought is really important. That's true. I need to understand this idea, or I really need to know what I'm going to say when the situation happens tomorrow. Or it feels important. I got to really understand what happened yesterday. Let me replay it, make sure I really got it. I learned all the lessons. So I know how to do it better next time, or maybe I need to process it. I need to just mull it over and just really keep looping it. It's almost an idea of perceived helpfulness. And that's one of the qualities of this mental supervisor. They can be so seductive. Right? The seduction of useful thinking. Like a bright, shiny, glossy thought that you just have to finish. And this pattern of perceived usefulness for most people has been going on almost their whole lives. So usually, unless you're in this kind of mindful meditation, you don't even notice that it's happening. It feels like just me thinking. Normal. And of course, we're not shaming this part. We're not judging it. It's not wrong or bad. But if we're on the trajectory of cultivating and embodying presence, wholeness, we inevitably have to face this aspect of ourselves. We have to face the supervisory impulses that the mind has, that we've perceived as normal. And we begin to question a little bit. Is this really, really useful? Is this thought really needed? Feels seductive. I feel an urgency around it. I feel a pull. The pull into thought can even be quite sudden and forceful. Very hard to resist sometimes. Can be. Especially if we're just starting to reckon with this aspect of ourselves. Can almost be a sense of, if I'm not completing this thought, if I'm not engaging it, something really is off, something bad might happen. All kinds of meanings can come up from that, and sensations. The body's used to doing it a certain way. So when we start to mix it up, the body's going to protest. The mind's going to protest. That's totally normal. And it might not be comfortable. But when we begin to really look at it, something starts to become more obvious. And that's that we start to become less seduced by the perceived usefulness, the illusion of needing to understand more concepts, more knowing. We begin to see most of those thoughts are not even related to the moment I'm in right now. And that's one of the ways we can see through this. Thinking about the meeting tomorrow and planning for it might be needed at some point. Maybe you do need to set out a few minutes of your day and consciously think about that. Make some notes and kind of brainstorm. But in this moment of meditation, that's not our purpose. Our purpose is just being right here, right in the presence of awareness that's actually beyond concepts. It's more of a felt sense in the body. More about sensing, not so much about thinking, not at all about thinking. So we begin to see, if it's not about this moment, it's not actually useful. So that realization, that insight in itself can help relax a little bit. And so as we're sitting here in this quiet, spacious breath practice, let the illusion of perceived usefulness be seen through. And of course, we're going to do this with the lightest touch. Because to push away a thought, to attempt to suppress it forcefully, is another aspect of the supervisor itself. The attempt to control anything in this moment is part of the subtle doer inside, the aspect of the supervisor that thinks, if I'm not controlling, nothing's gonna happen. It's an inherent distrust. So if there's an emotional flavor to the supervisor, it's more that of distrust. So we can start to sense a little bit of that as we just not engage, not forcefully disengage. Almost like just saying, no thanks, not interested. A thought comes, not interested. And you just don't complete the sentence, right? The sentence starts, oh yeah, tomorrow I gotta, and right in that moment you become, all of a sudden you're aware again. Oh yeah, here it is, the thought movie. And very simply, oh yeah, that's not useful, irrelevant for this moment. And you don't complete the sentence. That's all it takes. And so you might notice as you start doing that practice, a little, that sense of urgency might amplify. And that sense of distrust might amplify. And that's not something going wrong. That's exactly to be expected. Or it could be intensity of any kind too. as we just lean into not controlling anything and not engaging, not following the thoughts, not adding to it. When you complete the sentence, you become the supervisor, the subtle doer. That's the identification moment. You can't control whether the thought comes, but you have free will in not completing it. So we're just letting go of control. And allowing everything to be here without adding to it. And that is the very trust that the supervisor part of you doesn't have. What are we actually trusting, though? If I'm not doing it, if I'm not controlling, what am I trusting? And we start to see that as we let go, as we relax those urges of distrust, control, perceived usefulness, that the natural presence within us is just a simple awareness itself. Awareness without the filters of control, identity, interpretation, starts to become more obvious naturally. The supervisor is the one that it thinks it needs to manufacture presence. It thinks it needs to do something to generate that. It is the meditator itself trying to do the meditation correctly, trying to suppress thoughts, trying to quickly process emotions, trying various techniques. And we're just learning to let go of the meditator, which allows the meditation to happen on its own. So that is the very trajectory that we're on, is allowing presence and awareness to lead. That is the trust. So let's just take a moment and relax just a little more. urge to do anything.